Good day, Doctor. I'm Perng Jiu. My matrix number is 277481. It's an honor to be here to share about the individual assignment of research method. Alright, so the title of my study is Living Cost Increase Among Undergraduate Students in School of Economics, Finance and Banking, SFB, University Utara, Malaysia, UM. My presentation is divided into 5 parts, which are introductions, literature review, research methodology, data analysis and finding, and conclusion as well. I'm going to talk very much regarding the chapter 4, data analysis, and chapter 1, introductions. Alright, first of all, introduction. Before I begin, let's think about a question. So do you think the living cost is really increasing? In fact, the cost of living increased rapidly due to inflation recently, meaning to say that it will lower the buying power of most people. The same goes to students. Living costs are necessary for every single student. Most of the university students might struggle because rising living costs will increase the price of rental, food, and transportation for students as well as tuition fee. Therefore, we are going to look into how this study can give recommendations to the government and policymakers. University students might also benefit from this study by looking in details of theoretical and practical side. What are the problem statements of this study? First, inflation. Inflation may cause a lot of issues and consequences. So do you know what is inflation? In a simple word, inflation is basically the rate of increase in prices over a given period of time. University students might encounter living cost problem as their purchasing power decreases and the burden of students will be higher. In a simple way, students need more money than they used to in order to get the same amount of particular goods or services. For example, the price of basic goods increase such as meat, milk, potatoes, spices, coffee, flour, cereal, grains, and so on. Now, here are the 4 research questions of this study, which are: first, what are the demographic characteristics of School of Economics, Finance and Banking SFB students in UM? Second, do gender difference affect daily spending, student financial support, living standard, government policy, and living costs among SFB in UM? Third, do different colleges in courses affect daily spending, student financial support, living standard, government policy, and living costs among SFB students in UM? Fourth, what is the relationship between daily spending, student financial support, living standard, government policy, and living costs among SFB students in UM? To be understand easily, let's look at the research objective. The first research question is actually wishing to investigate the demographic of School of Economics, Finance and Banking SFB students in UM, while the second research objective is to examine whether the difference of gender affect variables such as daily spending, student financial support, living standard, government policy, and living costs among SFB undergraduate students in UM. The third objective is also to answer the third research question, which is to investigate how the different courses in SFB affect those variables I mentioned just now. Lastly, the last objective is to observe the relationship between daily spending, student financial support, living standard, government policy, and living costs among SFB undergraduate students in UM. Next, I'm going to talk about literature review. Let's look at how past researchers define the living cost. The constant problems that surrounded us are or is fluctuating cost of goods with change, as well as their reduced sizes. The new prices are rising every day are having an impact on our daily costs. According to a 2017 poll by the International Islamic University Malaysia Islam, the majority of Malaysians are concerned about unproven factors that may affect their finances, despite the fact that most of them are happy with their well-being. Economic factors including family income, employee status, and personal safety are typically linked to anxiety. The first hypothesis is designed to examine whether the differences of gender affect daily spending, student financial support, living standard, and government policy among SFB UM. As you can see, the null hypothesis HA shows there is no significant difference of daily spending among genders, while the alternate hypothesis is that, which is there is a significant differences of daily spending among genders. Besides, the second hypothesis is to investigate how the different courses in UM affect daily spending, student financial support, living standards, and government policy among SFB undergraduate students in UM. For example, the non-hypothesis of HF, which is there is no significant differences of daily spending among different courses undergraduate students in UM, in SFB UM, while the alternate hypothesis is there is a significant differences of daily spending amongst different courses undergraduate students in SFB UM. The large hypothesis is designed to observe the relationship between daily spending, student financial support, living standards, and government policy among SFB undergraduate students in UM. As you can see, the hypothesis over right-hand side show the non-hypothesis HK. There is no significant relationship between variables among UM SFB undergraduate students, and the alternate hypothesis shows there is a significant relationship between variables among UM SFB undergraduate students. All right, here is the research framework proposed by our group. It shows independent variables and dependent variables. Independent variables are variables which is researcher can manipulate, while dependent variables are the variable which the researcher is concerned with for this study. In our study, the independent variable consists of daily spending, student financial support, living standard as well as government policy, while at the opposite side, which is dependent variable, includes living costs. Alright, for the population frame, the table 3.1 shows University of Malaysia School of Economics, Finance and Banking undergraduate students population. There are 5 courses in SFB, which are Bachelor of Banking, Bachelor of Finance, Bachelor of Science and Economics, Bachelor of Risk Management and Insurance, and Bachelor of Science in Agribusiness Management as well. The total number of students in SFB is 3,191 students. Regarding the sample size, according to the Department of Economic Affairs Department, AGA, the SFB undergraduate students population was recorded as 3,191 students. So based on the table below, the population is around 3,000, so the sample size would be 341 respondents. So for this study, we use quantitative research approach, which is secondary data, to done this research. The type of secondary data we use in research is survey-based secondary data, which is a questionnaire through Google Form. The questionnaire has been divided into 6 parts, which is from section A to section F. Below shows our questionnaire front page and section A demography. The questionnaire were distributed by using internet platform, which is Google Form. So in this study, data analysis are method for gathering, modeling, and analysis the data to get the finding that can improve decision making. The researcher used the statistic package for social science SPSS version 25 to examine the data collected throughout the study. There are different procedures and methods for conducting analysis, which are frequency distribution analysis, descriptive analysis, independent sample t-test, one-way unbar, and Pearson correlation analysis. These are the techniques used throughout this research. Frequency distribution analysis is computed to examine the respondent's profile in terms of age, gender, ethnicity, state, current semester, college, social profile, family income classifications, and weekly spending that affect UM students as living cost increase. Based on the diagram below, it shows the step to achieve the frequency distribution analysis in SPSS. Once we finish keying the data and variables, we can click on Analyze, then Descriptive Statistics, and select frequencies. After that, we can choose the variables that we wish to analyze. Same goes to descriptive analysis. Click the Analyze, then Descriptive Statistics, and select the descriptive. Under the descriptive page, you need to select those variables. The purpose of descriptive statistics is basically to find the mean and standard deviation. For the independent t-test, it used to examine the following hypotheses in order to fulfill the second research objective, which is whether there is a significant differences in daily spending among gender or not. Based on the diagram below, it shows the way to get the independent t-test. Okay, first of all, click the Analyze, then choose the companions, then select the independent sample t-test. After that, select the test variable, let's say section B, which is daily spending, and grouping variable, choose age, then click the define groups button and change it to 1 and 2. It depends on how you define the gender. For one-way unbar test, it responds to the objective whether there is a significant difference of variable among different undergraduate students in SFB, UM or not. So based on the diagram below, we can click on Analyze, compare names, then one-way unbar. Under one-way unbar page, the dependent list, select section B and factor select courses. Then click OK. For correlation analysis, the Pearson correlation analysis is used to examine the following hypotheses in order to achieve the fourth objective, whether there is relationship between variables. So click the Analyze, correlate, then bivariate. After the bivariate correlations, we choose the variables which are from section B to section F. Right, next I would like to talk about the data analysis and findings. As you can see, table 4.1 shows the age of respondents. Majority of respondents are 20 to 22 years old, which is 75.1 out of 100%, while the least respondents are 35 years old and above. The second table 4.2 shows the gender of respondents. There are 137 male respondents out of 341 respondents, and 204 respondents are female. For the ethnicity of respondents, based on the data that collected, it shows the majority of respondents are Malay. For the citizens of respondents, it shows almost 91.8% respondents are local students and only 8.2% are international students. Right, current semester of respondents. It shows that most of the respondents are currently in semester 5 and 6. For the class of respondents, most of the respondents taking a Bachelor of Science in Economics is about 119 respondents, or 34.7%. The table 4.7 shows the source of funds of respondents. Almost 16.7% respondents taking PTPTN as their source of funds. On the other hand, we also look into the family income classifications of respondents. There are 162 respondents, or 47.5% family income classified as M40, which is 4,851 ringgit to 10,970 ringgit. For descriptive analysis, in these sessions, descriptive analysis often use the mean and standard deviation. A low standard deviation implies that data are grouped around the mean, whereas a large standard deviation shows the data are more dispersed. The highest mean is living cost with 4.9994, while the lowest mean is student financial support, with 3.2979. All the means are close to 5, and all the standard deviations are close to 0 and not more than 1. It tells us that most of the respondents agree on the variables. The independent t-test is used to compare the mean of variables between two unrelated groups. Based on the table below, as you can see, the p-value for Levin test is larger than 0.05. So we have to read the equivariance assumes of the t-test result. The result shows there is no significant difference of daily spending among gender, which is p-value equal to 0.097, which is larger than 0.05. Hence, the null hypothesis H8 should not be rejected. There is no significant differences of daily spending among genders. This is because daily spending is a must regardless if you are a male or female respondent. Next, we are going to look into the t-test of gender and student financial support. Alright, the results show the p-value is 0.706, which is larger than 0.05. So this means there is no significant differences of student financial support among genders. Therefore, the null hypothesis B should not be rejected. We can analyze that student financial support such as loans, funds, and incomes are crucial regardless of whether you are male or female, because every respondent needs to have financial support to maintain their daily life. Okay, the t-test of gender and living standard shows the result that p-value is equal to 0.846, which is also greater than 0.5. Hence, the null hypothesis C could not be rejected, meaning to say that there's no significant differences in living standards among genders. Living standard is decreasing as the living cost keep increasing. No matter if the respondent is male or female, the living standard of respondent drops simultaneously. Next, let's move to government policy and gender. So the table shows the p-value was recorded as 0.413, which is bigger than 0.05. Thus, the null hypothesis D should not be rejected. In other words, there is no significant differences in government policy among genders. Government policies such as tuition fee reductions, parenthesis 1, Ebola, and so on may reduce the student financial burden, but there is no significant difference among genders. The last t-test would be gender and living costs. The result shows there is no significant differences in living costs among gender, where p-value is equal to 0.413, which is greater than 0.05. Thus, null hypothesis E should not be rejected. Living costs increase towards males and female respondents, so both respondent living costs are high. One-way ANOVA is used to compare the means of a variable between two or more independent groups. The table below shows the result of the ANOVA test. Based on the table 4.15, it shows that there is a significant differences of daily spending among different courses undergraduate student in SFP, UM, where p-value is 0.041, which is less than 0.05, meaning to say that different courses result in different daily spending. Some of the students from different courses may spend more, but some of different courses may spend less daily. Based on the table student financial support among different courses down there, the p-value recorded as 0.689, which is more than the significant level of 0.05. Thus, the null hypothesis G should not be rejected, which means there is no significant differences of student financial support among different courses. The level of student financial support cannot be determined by courses. Some of the respondents from certain courses might have high student financial support, but some might have a low. It did not relate to courses directly. Same goes to living standards and government policy among different courses. The p-value of living standard shows 0.984, and the p-value of government policy shows 0.067, both of them larger than the significant level of 0.05. Therefore, the null hypothesis must not be rejected. Living standard falls and government policy do not take part in different courses undergraduate students, which means there's no direct relation between living standards and government policy and courses. The one-way ANOVA p-value of living costs among different courses is 0.067, which is higher than 0.05. The reason why the data is more than the significant level is because the living cost increase, it affects all the respondents regardless of the courses taken by the respondent. Next, I would like to explain the correlations analysis. The Pearson correlation coefficient is used to measure the strength of a linear association between two variables. The result shows that daily spending has no significant relationship between variables and has a positive relationship with student financial support, living standard, and government policy as well, where all the p-values are bigger than the suggestions p-value, which is 0.05, and the correlation value are 0.051, 0.044, and 0.020 respectively. The second variable, which is student financial support, also has no significant relationship between variables and has a positive relationship with daily spending and government policy. The p-values are larger than 0.05, and the correlation values are 0.051 and 0.045 respectively. The third variable is living standard. It has a positive relationship and it has no significant relationship between variables with daily spending, where all the p-value are greater than 0.05 and the correlation value is 0.044. The last variable is government policy. The correlation result shows there is no significant relationship between variables, and it has a positive relationship with daily spending and student financial support, where p-value are higher than 0.05 and the correlation value are 0.020 and 0.045 respectively. In short, all alternative hypotheses are rejected. Only one alternate hypothesis is accepted, which is alternate hypothesis F. There is a significant differences of daily spending among different courses undergraduate student in SFE UM is accepted. Alright, in a nutshell, according to the research, daily spending, student financial support, living standard, government policy, and living costs are significantly influenced less by gender, but there is a strong relationship between daily spending and courses. This study can be used as a guide by government and academic researchers who are trying to come to economic decisions. In order to encounter inflation, policymakers must work harder to develop better strategies. As a result, government assistance must be provided continuously for as long as necessary. I guess that's all I would like to share today.